Now we are going to look at one particular question type. This is the most painful of all the question types in the GRE section. Okay, I'll also tell you why. There will be this question, it will look like a paragraph. Okay, and there will be three blanks in it with numbers 1, 2, and 3. There will be three different blanks in different parts of the paragraph. This paragraph could range anywhere between 40 to 100 words. All right, so it could be a huge paragraph with three blanks in it, or it could be a small paragraph with three blanks in it. Now, what is special about this question type is each blank will be given with three options. You'll have to choose one option for each blank, and you'll have to fill all the three blanks. Now, here is the tricky part. You have to get all the three blanks right to get that 1 point for this question. Okay, I'm going to repeat this. You have to get all the three blanks right to get this 1 point for this question, which means you have 1 out of 27 chances of getting this question right. Okay, you cannot just guess and get it right. Take a TC1 question. TC1 is text completion question with one blank. It will be one sentence with one blank and 5 options given. So you have to choose one option out of 5, which is 20% chance of getting it right. Okay, so you have the last 30 seconds to solve a question. You have a TC1 question. You don't know what to do. You just click an option. You have 20% chances of getting that question right. But at the same time, if you have the same 30 seconds for a TC3 question and you click 3 options, the chances of you getting it right is less than 3. Okay, you have less than 3% of chance to get a TC3 question right by fluke. So this is that hard a question type. And to make it worse, the sentence structure, the complexity of vocabulary, everything will be added to that question type. All right. Now, what I'm going to do today is solve the question in front of you and show you what value addition we can make in your verbal preparation. All right. This is one of the toughest TC3 questions that ETS has. All right. Just try to read the given question. Please don't look at the options, because that is the first step you take in solving any question on the GRE. Do not look at the options. Okay. I'll also tell you why. For every instruction I give here, I'm going to tell you why, because you need to understand why you're doing something. Our education needs this particular facet. Okay, we need to understand why we are doing any particular action we are doing, maybe at school, maybe at college, or even in test prep. Okay, hide your options whenever you see any question. Why? Because once you see the option, your mind kind of registers some word and it may seem fitting in a blank. Okay, a lot of students face this issue. They look at a word and they feel that it is right. It is something that we are that our minds naturally do. Okay, you look at an option, you feel, okay, this word sounds familiar, and let's plug it in. And when you plug it in, it will feel grammatically right, and then you'll go for that option. Do not get confused like that. The main part of the verbal reasoning section is reasoning. You'll have to reason using the clues given in the sentence. Okay, so once you have seen a word, then your reasoning will also be focused towards that word, towards that meaning, and you may not understand the sentence properly. All right, we are easily prejudiced towards a particular word, particular meaning, something like that. So do not look at the options. If you're going to take a physical book and practice, please hide the options using your mobile or any rough paper you have. All right, but please do not look at the options whenever you're solving any question on the GRE. Okay, now try to read this question. The serious study of popular culture by intellectuals is regularly credited with having rendered obsolete. No. Okay, this is not going to help. I'll tell you some tricks that can help you solve these questions very easily. Okay, I'm going to tell you how these questions are created so that you can know what tricks are used in creating these questions, and hence you'll be able to solve these questions easily. All right, now let's look at this. I've put the same question. I've separated the sentences in this part. Okay, this is a long sentence. All right, but let's look at it. The serious study of popular culture by intellectuals is regularly credited. Now, every sentence has an action in it, an event in it. Okay, This is the primary rule. Be it reading comprehension, be it text comprehension questions, this is the primary rule. Okay, every sentence has an action in it, has an event in it. Now, what is an action? It is just the verb that you see in a sentence, right? So here is credited is where the verb comes in. So before this, whatever is the subject or the doer, whoever does the action. Okay. So serious study of popular culture by intellectuals. That's a huge phrase, but it just refers to study something. Okay. Now here is the first trick I'm going to teach you. Any discrete question, it could be a text completion question with one blank, two blank, three blanks, sentence sequence question, whatever it is, it will have some connections made within the sentence. Okay, so a text completion question with one blank or a sentence sequence question will have one sentence in it, and there will be at least two parts in it. Okay, remember this. Sentence sequence question or text completion question with one blank will have just one sentence in it, and it will have at least two parts in it. One part will have a blank, and the other part will not have a blank. Now your job there is to relate the two parts, understand the relationship between the two parts, and solve the question. And most importantly, the clue will be in the part that does not have the blank. All right. Now let's look at this again. This sentence, this whole sentence. Okay. The serious study of popular culture by intellectuals. So this is a huge noun clause. I don't want to name these things like that. So this is a huge doer, whoever does the action. Okay. Now, serious study of popular culture by intellectuals. Why make it so complex? Let's just mark it as study. Let's keep it as study. Okay. This blue thing is going to be study for us. Okay. Study is regularly credited with having rendered obsolete a once dominant view. Now, there is another point you'll have to note: vocabulary. Vocabulary for GRE is very important. It's not like you have to mug up a lot of words. You'll just have to be able to recognize words. That's all. So if I ask you, if I tell you a word, you must be able to at least understand the meaning of it. If not, communicate or convey the meaning of it. All right. You need not tell me what the synonym is, or you need not tell me the definition of that word, but you must have an idea of what that word is. That is all you need for GRE preparation. Okay. To be able to see a word and recognize, okay, this word means something like this. That's all. Okay. You don't even have to say that. When you see a word, you must be able to recognize it. This is very crucial for GRE. Earlier, GRE used to test you on synonyms, antonyms, and all, but now that has been scrapped away totally. Now, all you need to do is look at a word like obsolete, and you have to understand what it means. That's all. So you'll have to look at a lot of words, maybe read them in context, and understand the meaning of it. So when you look at it in a sentence or in the options, you must be able to recognize, okay, this word means something like this. That's enough. You don't have to even get the exact meaning of that word. All right. Now, obsolete means something that has been outdated, old. Okay. It has been rendered obsolete, which means that is no more in use. That is not used anymore. Something like that. Okay. So the study is regularly credited. Credited means it is given a credit. Okay. It is appreciated for something like that. Okay. So the study is credited with having rendered obsolete a once dominant view. Now there is a huge action taking place. The study has done something. What has it done? Rendered obsolete a once dominant view. Once dominant is, it was once upon a time dominant, but now it is obsolete. Okay, now it is useless. So this part, I'm going to highlight it as a change. So the study has made some change. It has been appreciated for making this change. What is the change? Making an old view irrelevant. Okay, a once dominant view irrelevant. This is what the change has been. Now, once dominant view that, now this is the view, a once dominant view. So the old view is popular culture is inferior. Popular culture is inherently inferior to high art. So there is something called high art. You don't have to understand what high art is, and you don't have to understand what popular culture is. Okay. So, but please try to understand these single words. Popular is a word you must know. Popular is when a lot of people are in support for something. Okay, it comes from people, popular people. Okay, so when a lot of people support something, it becomes popular. An actor becomes popular because a lot of people like him. Okay, so popular culture is a culture that is popular. Something like popular culture is usually used to refer to commercial movies. Okay, something like that. So popular culture is inherently inferior to high art. So this is the understanding that people had once upon a time, and it has been rendered obsolete now. Okay, so the old view is popular culture is inferior. Now, when you condense these things this way, you'll see that in the rest of the given question, you'll find these phrases repeated a lot. Okay, but in different ways. It won't say serious study of popular culture again, but it will give it in different terms. All right, let's look at the rest of the sentence. Yet, this alteration of attitudes. What is alteration? Alteration is basically change, and attitude is basically your view of something, right? So, alteration of attitudes is basically the same change that we saw before, rendering obsolete a once dominant view. Okay, so yet this change may be somewhat blank. Now it becomes simple, right? The serious study of popular culture is reduced to study. The study is regularly credited with having changed, having made a change, that old view. Okay, a change to the old view. Now here, alteration of attitudes means the same thing as rendering obsolete a once dominant view. Now this is the relationship I talked about before. Okay, there will be a lot of connections, there will be a lot of repetitions without even you noticing it. All you have to do is find these repeated phrases. All right, rendered obsolete a once dominant view is the same as alteration of attitudes. Attitude equal to view, and alteration is this rendering obsolete, a change. Okay, okay, yet this alteration of attitudes may be somewhat something. Although it is academically respectable to analyze popular culture. So what is analyzing popular culture? Basically studying popular culture, which is serious study of popular culture. So you can just replace it with study. Now if you notice, I have given the same colors for terms, I mean for phrases that refer to the same concept. Now serious study of popular culture by intellectuals and analyzing popular culture refer to the same thing, study. Okay, similarly rendering obsolete a once dominant view and alteration of attitudes is the same thing, change. Okay, although it is now academically respectable to study, the fact that many intellectuals feel compelled to rationalize their own blank action movies or mass market fiction. Now comes action movies and mass market fiction. It refers to popular culture. Okay, perhaps unwittingly, they continued blank the old hierarchy of high and low culture. So, what is a hierarchy? Hierarchy is any system where someone is on the top and someone is on the bottom. Okay, there will be someone under the top management, and then there will be someone under those again. So it will be like a tree. Okay, there will be one on the top and there will be people under them. Okay, so hierarchy of high and low culture means there will be some kind of branching. One will be on the top and other will be on the bottom, which is the same as inferior and superior. Okay, so high art is superior and popular culture is inferior. That was the old view, right? So old hierarchy of high and low culture, which is the same as the old view. Now we have understood which parts are repeated in the given question, and we are going to simplify it, right? The study is appreciated for making a change to the old view. Okay, this is the condensation of this whole sentence. Now that makes it easier, right? Instead of reading it as the serious study of popular culture, this is simpler. The study is appreciated, credited is basically appreciated for making a change to the old view. Old view is popular culture is inferior to high art, right? Next. Yet the change may be somewhat blank. Okay, let it be blank. Yet the change may be blank. Now let's look at the next part. It is now academically respectable to study. Whenever a sentence starts with although, while, even though, something like that, you can split it into two and add but to the second part. Okay, you must all be very familiar with using but. But is usually used to show contrast. Although while all these words also show contrast, so when you use although or while, you can split that sentence into two and add but to the second part. Now let's see. Although it is now academically respectable to analyze popular culture, which is it is now respectable to study. Analyze popular culture is study, right? So we are going to use that. Second part, but many intellectuals feel compelled to rationalize their own blank of action movies and mass market fiction. Okay, so you're going to split this part into two. You're going to transfer this although to the second part as but. Although it is now academically respectable to study, which is it is now academically respectable to study, but many intellectuals feel compelled to rationalize their own blank action movies or mass market fiction. Okay. Now there is one crucial part here, the fact that, okay, this is like a nested condition. There is although, and then there is that available. So this that is connected with reveals. So the fact that someone is doing something means something else. Okay. Before this, an although clause is added. Now parsing this sentence is a trick we'll be teaching you at Galvanize. Okay. How will you know how to split this sentence into different parts and how will you understand the sentence is something we'll be teaching at Galvanize. All right. Now we split the sentence into three parts. It is now respectable to study, but many intellectuals feel the need to justify their own blank of pop culture. I've just replaced action movies or mass market fiction with pop culture. All right. And what does this reveal? This reveals here. Okay. This reveals their continued blank of old view. All right. Now they have some feeling towards the old view, and it is revealed by this action. This is how we simplify this whole question, and we'll teach you how to do this yourself. You can take any TC3 question and you will be able to do this. All right. Now going forward, things will get simpler. The second step would be to identify the transition words. So these are transition words: yet, but, while, although, nevertheless. These words are transition words. They help you understand the direction in which a sentence is going. Okay. The study is appreciated for making a change to the old view, and study is basically serious study of popular culture. Change is making the old view irrelevant, and old view is considering popular culture as inferior. Okay. Yet the change may be blank. So yet is used something like still. Okay. Think of this. You know, I don't like pizza, but blank. Okay. When you say but, it's going to just show a contrast here. Okay. It could be filled with anything, but you forgot it this time, or but you still bought pizzas for me. Okay. But yet is used only when you're going to give a meaning of still. Okay. You know, I don't like pizzas, yet there's only one way the sentence can go. Yet you bought pizzas for me. Okay. It cannot be yet you forgot that. Okay. So still is used when you're going to emphasize that something has something contrary has happened. Okay. So yet is different from but, slightly different from but, and you have to understand that. Okay. Yet the change may be blank. So study is appreciated for making a change, yet the change may be something. Okay. It is now respectable to study, but many intellectuals feel the need to justify their own blank popular culture. Okay. This reveals their continued blank worldview. Now we are going to see how we are going to solve this question. To solve this question, people think that is study has been appreciated, right? We are going to rephrase it and ask questions to solve the blank. Now this is the next step. Okay. You're going to ask 3 questions to solve each blank. Okay. People think that study has made a change. Okay. Yet the change may be something. Now what are we required to do here? Try to understand that. What do we know about the change, or how can we describe that change? We need a describing word here, right? Think about it. Yet the change may be, think of a noun, a verb, and an adjective. Okay, a describing word. Okay, have these words in mind all the time. Change may be beauty, does not make sense. It does not make grammatical sense. Okay, let's think of the word beauty as noun. Okay, now yet the change may be beauty. No, it doesn't make sense. Leave it at that. Okay, let's think of a verb. Okay, study, or study can also be a noun. Let's think of some other word. Read. Okay, yet the change may be read. No, it doesn't make sense. Okay, now think of an adjective or describing word. Yet the change may be beautiful. Yeah, it makes sense. So we're going to describe the change. Okay, you have these fixed words in mind for each category: a naming word, a noun, a verb, an action, and a describing word, an adjective. Okay, and try to fit and see if it makes grammatical sense, not meaningful sentence. See if it makes grammatical sense. Yet the change may be beautiful. Now it makes grammatical sense. So we need a describing word here. Okay, how can we describe the change? This is the question we're going to answer. And to answer this question, we have the rest of the part. Okay, we'll find clues in the rest of the sentence. Okay, let's go for the second blank. The study is respected. It is now respectable to study. Okay, so when you study popular culture, you are respected. Fine. But many intellectuals feel the need to justify their own blank popular culture. Okay, so what could go in the blank? It can neither be a naming word, it can neither be an action, it cannot be a describing word either. when there are when all these three cases get eliminated, it must be a phrase. Okay, the GRE is notorious for using phrases in the blank. Phrase as in, there will be a word followed by a preposition, that is for, of, with, against, something like that. Okay, there will be two words for this blank. There won't be just a single word. This is something you have to know. In text completion 1, text completion 2, and text completion 3 questions, the option need not be a single word. It could be two words. Okay, it could be a phrase. All right, now here we need a phrase. No naming word, no action word, no describing word will fit here, so we need a phrase. Okay, the study is respected, but intellectuals still feel the need to justify their blank popular culture. So it is something like they justify their feeling for, something like feeling for. Okay, so we need to ask a question like, what is the feeling the intellectuals have towards popular culture? Okay, now the third question, the need for justification. This suggests, this refers to this whole action. Okay, it is now respectable to study, but many intellectuals feel the need to justify their own blank popular culture, their feeling for popular culture. Okay, this whole phenomenon reveals their continued blank of the old view. Now again, blank, when I say of the old view, right? So blank will not be filled with a naming word, an action word, or a describing word. So it must be filled with a phrase. Okay, now they have a continued blank, the old view. So towards the old view, they have some relationship, some position. Okay, what question would you ask? What is their position with respect to the old view? Okay, now when you have these three questions, it becomes easier for you to solve the whole TCT question. Okay, let's understand the story once again. The study is appreciated for making a change to the old view. Old view is considering popular culture as inferior. Study is studying popular culture seriously, and changes, the old view is no more relevant, no more useful. Okay, so people say that the study has done this change, yet the change may be blank. How could it go? Okay, there is only one way it could go, but let's see the other sentences. It is now respectable to study. So if you say, if you do a thesis on Vijay movies or Rajini movies, okay, they're all popular movies. There will be a lot of action involved, there will be sentiment involved, there will be romance, everything will be there. Okay, they are all commercial movies, right? So if you study Rajini movies, then you are respected. Okay, but The people who study Rajini movies still feel the need to justify their blank popular culture. Okay, so I appreciate you if you do something. Okay, and yet if you do it and justify why you're doing it, then it probably means you're feeling guilty about it, right? Something like that. Okay, this reveals their continued blank the old view. Okay, now we have the story clear. People are studying popular culture and they are appreciated for it, and yet they feel the need to explain why they are uh, doing something towards popular culture. Okay, this whole phenomenon, this feeling they have, the need to explain, reveals their continued blank the old view. Okay, let's see how we solve this question. You need not solve the blanks in the given order. This is the next tip I'm going to give. Be it a text completion question with 2 blanks, 3 blanks, you need not solve the blanks in the given order. But how do I know which blank to solve? We'll teach you that at Galvanize. We have tricks for it, we have strategies for it. We do that at Galvanize. Okay. So now let's see. This is the second blank, but I'm bringing it first. The study is respected, but intellectuals still feel the need to justify their feeling for popular culture. So what feeling could they have? Okay, let's take two different feelings. If they have hatred for popular culture, okay, these intellectuals are the ones who study popular culture. Okay, if they have hatred for popular culture, then they won't be studying it. Okay, if they hate popular culture, they won't be studying it. So that's gone. It can only be the other thing. If they like popular culture, okay, it is respected, they like popular culture, they study it, but they still feel the need to justify why they like it. Okay, no one's going to ask you why do you like popular culture, but they still feel the need to justify it. Okay, so this is what makes sense here. They like popular culture. So you can say, what is the feeling the intellectuals have towards popular culture? They like it. As simple as that. Okay, think of two different feelings you can have: hatred or love. If they hated popular culture, they won't even be studying it, and they won't feel the need to justify it. Okay, but if they like popular culture and the study is respected, yet they still feel the need to justify it. Okay, it's like you go to a Rajni movie, come back and explain why you went to that Rajni movie, as if someone's going to blame you for going for the Rajni movie. It is respected already, and yet they do that. Okay, that is why liking is the close word here. Next, this need for justification. It said this reveals their blank, right? This need for justification reveals their position towards the old view. So, what would be their position? For that, you must understand what old view is. Old view is popular culture is inferior to high art, right? So, popular culture is inferior basically. So, if you're going to watch some inferior movie, then you'll feel the need to explain why you watched it, right? If you watched a really good movie, then no one's gonna ask you why you watched that movie, and you need not explain why you watched that movie. Okay, but if you watched a bad movie, if it's an inferior movie and you watched it, you'll feel the need to explain why you watched it. Oh no, there was some this particular actor who's my friend, something like that. Okay, so this need for justification reveals their blank towards the old view. So old view is popular culture is inferior. It is only if they believe that popular culture is inferior that they will explain why they watched it, right? So what is their position with respect to their old view? They still think the old view is right, or they still believe in the old view. Okay, so it is like support or adherence to. They still support the old view. Okay, popular culture is inferior. I'm studying it. It is respected. But if I love popular culture, then I have to explain why I love it, because it is inferior. When it is inferior, you'll feel the need to explain. So that is what is going on here. Okay. Now let's look at the first blank. Now we know what is happening. These intellectuals love popular culture. Okay. And it is because they feel that popular culture is inferior that they find the need to justify why they love popular culture. Okay, so they support the old view inadvertently. They don't even think about it, but subconsciously they support the old view. Okay, now people think the study has made the change. This is the first sentence. The study is appreciated to have the study is credited with having made the change, right? So people think the study has made a change, yet the change may be blank. Okay, now you understand why this option is solved last. Now, intellectuals who study popular culture are respected, and yet they feel the need to explain their love for popular culture. It is because they have this support of the old view. Okay, old view is popular culture is inferior. Now, this much is known. Okay, this is an explanation of this. Okay, people think the study has made a change, yet the change is, you have to describe the change. The change isn't complete. So not everyone believes that old view is gone. Okay, there are some people who still believe that old view is relevant. Okay, so this change is either incomplete or this change is exaggerated. That is, without it happening, people think it has happened. Okay, so these are the options you come up with. You have to come up with these options before looking at the answer choices provided. Okay, for blank 2 I'm thinking of something like liking. Okay, for blank 3 I'm thinking of something like support to, and for blank 1 I'm thinking of something like incomplete or exaggerated. Okay, now let's go back to the question. This is how you'll fit it. Okay, yet this alteration of attitudes may be incomplete or exaggerated, and these intellectuals feel the need to rationalize their own liking for action movies, and this whole phenomenon reveals their continued support for or adherence to the old hierarchy, old view. Okay, now this is what you will have in mind. You have to compare these options, these words, with the options provided. Okay, let's do that now. You need incomplete or exaggerated for this blank. Now counterproductive is not incomplete, it is basically doing the opposite, but that is not incomplete or exaggerated. Okay, so counterproductive is not the answer. Underappreciated, it is the opposite of exaggerated. Okay, so exaggerated is overappreciated, underappreciated is the opposite, so that is also not the answer. Overstated is the answer. Now see how comparing with this makes finding the answer easier. Instead, if you plug in this word, you'll feel like every word fits, so please don't do that. Okay, similarly for second blank, liking for. Now here is where vocab comes. Like I already mentioned, you need not be able to define the word penchant. This is, by the way, um, pronounced as penchant. Okay, it's from French. So you don't have to know the pronunciation. You don't have to know the exact definition of it. You don't have to know the synonyms. All you need to know is penchant means something like or love or passion. Okay, that's all. Once you see the word penchant, you must immediately be reminded of passion or liking or love. It may even be in your mother tongue, doesn't matter. The concept must come to your mind. You need not get a word for it. So liking for is similar to passion. Okay, this taste for is the opposite of liking for, so this can be eliminated. Indifference to is having no feeling towards that. Okay, you neither like it nor dislike it, that is indifference. So this is also not the answer. We were looking for liking for, and we've got penchant for. Okay, fine. Look at the third blank, support for or adherence to. This is the word or phrase you're looking for. Look at the options. Aversion to. Aversion is dislike, so that is the opposite of supporting or adherence. That can be eliminated. Investment in. Now there will be some words. This is part of your vocab preparation. Okay, there will be some words whose meaning may be known to you, whose one meaning may be known to you. There will be another meaning to that word which you may not be familiar with. For example, take this word, apprehend. Okay, apprehend is a word commonly used in newspapers a lot. Okay, for example, ATM robber apprehended, which means arrested. Okay, caught and arrested. That's all. Apprehend means to catch someone or arrest someone. But it also means to understand, similar to comprehend. Okay, apprehend is to understand clearly. Now there are two different meanings. Apprehend, one meaning you may be familiar with, and another meaning may not be familiar to you. Similarly, there is another word, deliberate. Okay, this is a word we commonly use a lot. Deliberate. It was a deliberate attempt to erase evidence. Okay, so deliberate in this sense means intentional, right? But there is also another meaning to deliberate, which is a verb action. Deliberate means to stop and think before acting. Okay. For example, this is commonly used in a lot of law movies. Okay. The jury is deliberating. The jury is deliberating means they are stopping and thinking about what verdict to give. Okay. So similarly, there will be a lot of words that have secondary meanings. When you prepare your vocabulary, you must be aware of these secondary meanings. Do not ignore these secondary meanings. Okay. Go to Google, define, check any word. It will have 2 or 3 meanings. Look at all the meanings. When you look at that word, you must be reminded of the other meanings too. That's all. Okay. Let's come back to investment. Investment, the meaning would be putting money into something, right? Why do we do that? Because you believe that it will be productive, right? You invest in a bank because you know it will give you interest. So investment is something you do when you know it is going to be productive for you. So you do it with a belief, right? That is what is fitting here. Adherence to is similar to investment in. So you believe in this old view and hence you feel the need to justify your position. Okay. Misunderstanding of is not the same as support for or adherence to, so that can also be eliminated. Now, if you just look at the options and fit in misunderstanding of here, it will fit in perfectly. Okay. But say you look at the question and first you look at the options. You got hold of misunderstanding of. Then you read the whole question. When you read it, you'll keep reading it as their continued misunderstanding of the whole hierarchy. Okay, and it may seem fitting, and you'll end up choosing that option. In a TC3 question, that is a very risky thing. Remember what I told you. You have 1 out of 27 chances of getting this question right. So please hide the options before starting, because once you see the options, it will stick in your mind and it won't go away very easily. And it will kind of color your thought process. It will kind of prejudice you, and you'll keep thinking, okay, misunderstanding of will be fitting here, while the answer is investment in. Okay. And don't go by the sound of words. Okay. This whole sentence, this whole paragraph is talking about popular culture, something about art, and investment may not sound like the right word here. Okay. Investment has got to do with finance, so this may not be the answer. That is not the kind of approach you have to take. Okay. The right approach to do it would be solving the question using the clues, coming up with your own words, and then eliminating options based on what you have. All right. This is the trick to solve text completion questions. Now you may wonder, I took half an hour to explain this TC3 question, and how am I supposed to finish one question? Maybe a TC3 question has to be completed in 2 minutes. Okay. If an instructor is taking half an hour to explain this question, how am I supposed to solve this in 2 minutes? That could be a thought you may have. It is because I'm explaining every step that goes on in this process that it's taking half an hour. Okay. If I had to solve this question, these steps will run quickly in my mind. And how do I do that? It is with practice that it comes. Okay. You must be able to split sentences. You must be able to find repetitive phrases and maybe have single words for them, like I had for study, old view, change, something like that. You must be able to do that quickly with your mind once you look at the sentence. Okay. For that, you need practice. And for practice, you need strategies first. You must be able to understand the strategy first before practicing. You can take a lot of questions. You can solve hundreds of questions repeatedly. That won't help. You must be able to understand the strategy and apply it correctly. And once you make a mistake, you must be able to go back and understand what mistake you made. Okay, that is where the trick lies. Solving hundreds of questions is not going to solve the problem. Even if you solve just 20 questions, if you do it if you do it religiously, if you apply the strategy properly every time, you are bound to see better results than solving hundreds of questions and making a lot of mistakes.